Hello everybody, how are you doing today? I am very well, thank you. I hope you are too. Today we are going to be doing a watercolour painting of Peter Pan. Yay, Peter Pan. I have actually never drawn a picture of Peter Pan. I believe I've never drawn a picture of Peter Pan. I couldn't think of one. I actually, as you know, if you've been around for a while and you've watched my other videos, you'll know that I tend to draw a lot of Disney characters. I'm heavily inspired by Disney just in general. I was definitely of that era, a child of the Disney bloom, let's say. So Peter Pan was one of those movies that I watched when I was little, along with all these other movies that I'm always inspired by. And Peter Pan, I just realized I've never drawn anything Peter Pan, which is really strange. I must have drawn him before. I must have. I kind of have a memory of drawing the feather in his hat, so I feel like I have drawn him. Either way, let's just draw Peter Pan today. Let's be inspired by the movie. And talking about the movie, I was never a huge fan of Peter Pan. It just wasn't the movie for me, really. I did watch it a lot, weirdly, when I was young. I was a bit of a tomboy, so I preferred these kind of movies rather than the princessy movies. But I do remember Wendy kind of got on my nerves a little bit, and so did the brothers, her brothers. And Peter Pan never really appealed to me either. I thought he was kind of irritating, but the visual of the movie I really liked. So especially when you're first introduced to Peter Pan, when he is coming into the window, into the children's bedroom, the imagery around that introduction of Peter Pan I really like. And sorry, I keep saying Peter Pan, but I can't just call him Peter, can I? Peter. Like Wendy does. She says his name so many times in the movie, it's really annoying. Peter. That's all I can think about. Anyway, yes, so when he's obviously flying around London, those scenes in general, they always inspired me. I also loved when they are flying over Neverland. I just really liked those sky scenes, the flying scenes. So I kind of wanted that in the background here. I wanted you to be able to see the moon, because obviously we have that very iconic image in Peter Pan, which is them all flying through the sky, and you can see their silhouette in the moon. So actually I got told some interesting information yesterday, that my mother said that yesterday she told me that we used to be, me and my two brothers, because I have two brothers, we used to be afraid of our shadows, and we used to look around for our shadows where they are. And I said to her, oh, that's because of Peter Pan. And then I had to explain the whole story to her, what happens in Peter Pan and why we would be looking around for our shadows to check they were still there. If you've seen the movie, which I assume you have if you're watching this, then you'll know what I'm talking about. But I thought that was quite funny because I don't remember that at all. Anyway, so actually talking about the illustration, so I've decided to do the window because, like I said, that was the part that I always liked, and I've decided to also include the background, which is the night sky. So this is, for me, I've drawn Peter kind of leaning into the window. He's listening out to see if he can hear anybody. He can hear anybody's awake. So I've put his hand up to his ear, and his other hand is leaning in the window. And also a little bit further up, you will see that Tinkerbell is also sitting in the corner there. And I kind of just wanted her to be like a glow, just like a glowing blob. So that's kind of how I've illustrated her. So you can't really see a lot of detail with Tinkerbell. Hopefully you know though that it's her. So when I was doing the night sky, I decided to work in layers. So I did the first layer of watercolor, and then obviously I wanted everything to be in shadow. So as you can see, what I'm doing now is going over the first and second layer of watercolour with a shadow colour, which is, I think it's Moon Glow or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a greyish blue, a grey blue colour. Perfect colour to create shadows and night skies, as you can see. And with a second and third pass of those watercolours, it really deepened the night sky and that shadowy look that I was going for. I don't actually think I've ever created a nighttime scene like this, so it was a little bit of a challenge for me. And when I was putting the watercolor shadow over Peter Pan's face and arms, I was freaking out, trust me. Like, it was really scary. I thought I was going to ruin the whole thing and you wouldn't be able to see the colour underneath, the green underneath, but actually it dried and it lifted a little bit of that colour up. So as you can see, you can actually see the green underneath of the shadow that I put on top. So even though I've been using watercolours for a few years now, I'm still learning so much about them, and layering watercolours can be really difficult. There is such a fine line between putting too much down and not enough, or too much water, not enough colour, and all these kind of things. So I was actually super pleased with how this shadow on Peter Pan turned out. I think I could have even gone a little bit heavier. I do apologise for my head bobbing into the frame every now and again. And also my rings. I forgot to take my rings off today, so I'm sorry if that's distracting for you too. I usually take them off, but I completely forgot. Anyway, yes, I am pleased with the way the shadow worked today, and I would obviously like to improve this a little bit more, and I would like to even put it into Procreate and see if I can neaten things up a little bit. I think there is only so much definition I can get with a pencil, because I can't get close enough and I can't get the point sharp enough. So there is a benefit to using a program like Procreate to neaten things up. So I'd really like to try that. And other than that, I was really happy with how it turned out, other than it just being able to be a little bit neater. It actually came out probably as I imagined, which rarely happens when I draw. Things don't really come out as I imagine them to, or I have these grand ideas for what I want to draw, and whatever I'm drawing comes out completely different. Not like that it's a bad thing, it's a good thing as well, because it gives me fresh ideas, or I like to change as I go. But with this one, actually I have every element that I wanted. I wanted the window to be open, I wanted Peter to be half in and half out of the window, I wanted you to be able to see the houses in the background to kind of give you an idea of height, like how high Peter Pan was in the building. I wanted you to have Tinkerbell there as well, and the sparkliness and the moon and the clouds. So all of the elements that I wanted for this are there, so I was really happy. The very last thing I did was to add a blue, like a very pale blue wash in the background, and that's just to kind of represent Wendy, because she has that colour dress, and the wallpaper as well. So that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this one. It's a lot shorter than my other videos, but I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and I will see you next Sunday with a brand new video. Take care, everybody. Bye.